Man versus gun.
Hello shooters, today's installment of Man vs. Handgun is the Taurus 24/7. I know the Taurus gets a lot of bad rap out there on the internet. I don't care about that. If they are lubricated properly, I found that they run pretty dang well. They do have to be lubricated properly though, and we'll go over that after we go through all the Man vs. Gun. For those that own Taurus 24/7s or handguns like this by Taurus, at the end of the video, I'll have what I consider to be must-dos to keep these running well. But anyhow, let's take it through the paces and see what happens with the Taurus 24/7. Taurus 24/7 is a 9mm model. Let's see how much it weighs. It weighs 1 pound 13 ounces. So let's bring our standard over. Glock 17, 1 pound 13 ounces. So the 24/7 weighs the same. Okay, so the 24/7 empty weighs the same as a Glock plus 13 rounds. Okay, the width on the 24/7 is going to be 1.25 inches. 1.25 inches. So this is a good service-sized handgun. It gets high marks for being a service-sized handgun. And since it is light and it is thin, it also would make a great concealed carry handgun. It's much too big to be a pocket handgun. The receiver is made out of polymer, made out of plastic, and this is also kind of a rubber stuff that's molded over the top of the plastic. Now, I am not a fan. I am not a fan at all of rubber things that you can put on a Glock or any other kind of makes. Like Hogue makes some other. Nothing against these companies, but I'm not a fan of those things. They can move around on the handgun. They can slide up and actually cover the magazine release. They're a bad idea. But this is like molded into the. This is part of the gun. It doesn't move, this rubber part here. So it feels good in the hand. It doesn't move. The grip is nothing to write home about though. This doesn't feel as good in the hand as like a Smith & Wesson M&P or a CZ75, or it just doesn't feel as good in the hand. It's just something's just off about the grip. I don't know what it is. But it is what it is. So the back strap is it's a good design on the back strap. There's no stippling back here, and the important part is this rubber part doesn't come up to the top here, so your hand can get a good purchase before this rubber kind of sticky stuff kind of comes into play with the grip there. The back strap's non-adjustable. The side panels are non-adjustable. They're a good feel to them though. The trigger pull on this 24/7 is, it's actually pretty dang good. That on the take-up, there's absolutely no creep at all. A little teeny bit of creep there at the end, but it's not rocky, or it's not gritty feeling. And I don't have I don't have a ton of rounds through this thing, so it's got really good take-up. And then it hits a wall, and then you apply pressure, and it goes. You don't really feel that creep after the wall comes. Apply pressure, and it goes. Now, the 24/7 does have Taurus what they call second strike capability, so that when you're running this thing, all the time you're running it, it's going to be single action. From the time you put the first round in there, it's always the same trigger pull every time. But if you do come up on a dead primer, you can run the trigger, and it is harder and it is grittier, but you can run the trigger again. But I think that's a non-starter. I really don't. I could give a rip about that. For me, the round gets one chance. If it doesn't go when I pull the trigger, that round is getting ejected and a new one is getting put in. So that second strike capability means absolutely nothing. So the trigger pull on this actually gets pretty good marks. It's a nice trigger pull, and it's exact same every time. The magazine well is sort of flared, not really heavy flaring. It's sort of flared. Magazine is a good design. It's made by Taurus in Brazil. It does carry 17 rounds, so it is a full capacity magazine. It's exact same size as a Glock 17 mag, and it does hold 17 rounds. That's a good thing. It is one-handed Type 3 manipulation friendly. This thing is. It's got that curve to it. That'll hook into your belt buckle, your holster, on your shoe, on a door jamb, on your steering wheel, or whatever. So that's a good thing. And it does go in farther. See how the magazine comes out a smidge? I like that on a magazine. They seem to be more reliable at going in and catching. So that's a good thing. The magazine release is in a great spot. I wished it stuck out this way. Let me get my pointer here. It's pretty much flush with the grip here, which is not a bad thing, but I wish it stuck out just a smidgen, but it doesn't. And you know, you move your thumb over and you hit it, and it does work. I just wished it stuck out a little bit more is all. Not mirror image, it's on one side only. The safety is in a great spot over here, but it's only on one side. But it's easily put on, it's easily wiped off. And it doesn't stick out too far either. It keeps a nice flat profile. So I think they did a good job with the safety, but it's only on one side, it's not mirror image. The slide catch is right here. Here's the takedown. This is the takedown lever thing right there. There's the slide catch. There's the thumb safety. The slide catch is a good design. It's very M&P-ish in its design. So the slide catch is in a good spot, but it's not on both sides. It's only on one side. So it's not mirror image, so it gets a little bit of a hit there. The rear sight is actually a Heine design rear sight. It's okay design. It is. You can replace it because it's got the dovetails there. It is somewhat one-handed malfunction friendly because it's got that shelf there to grab onto your belt buckle or your belt or your holster or a door jamb or a steering wheel or something. I wished it was a little bit more pronounced, but it works. The front sight is a good design, and you can replace it. I like that on a handgun, being able to replace the front sight if I want. And it does have a light rail with 2 slots, so that's a good thing. It is not optics compatible. So let's go out to the range and put a few rounds to this thing, see how it does.
The Taurus's initial take-up is kind of long, but once you get past that, back to near where the wall is, it's a nice trigger. It has a short reset. You're able to get quick shots off. The sights are pretty dang good for the price point, and if you keep it lubed properly, it'll run for you. The grip part's not the most comfortable in my hand, but it's also not the most uncomfortable either. For the price point, the Taurus is a good handgun, and for a lot of folks, this is all they can afford, is the price point of a gun like this. You keep it lubed properly, and it will do the job for you. It'll do what you need it to do.
Okay, shooters, so there's the spreadsheet portion of the Taurus 24/7. Stay tuned for lubrication points to make these things run. They don't run dry. There's handguns that do run okay dry. The Taurus 24/7 isn't one of them. You have to keep it lubricated. Stay tuned for exactly where to lubricate this thing. But I have found through my own handgun here, and also ones that have come through my classes, if they're properly lubricated, they run. They're not a high round count handgun. Nobody's going to buy this and put 20,000 rounds through it. They're going to buy something else. But for the price point these come at, keep them well lubricated, they'll do the job for you. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all the shares, likes, and subscribes. Any questions or comments, post them below. Have a good day. All right, shooters, if you have a Taurus PT-27 or a PT-111 or anything that's like this, then it's really important that you lube these things correctly. Let's go over how we do that. First of all, you take the magazine out. You make sure that there's nothing in the gun. and then you lock the slide back and you do that 90 degrees. Some of them you're able to pull out. I can't really pull mine out. I gotta kind of use a little screwdriver to jimmy it out. And I'm going to set that aside. Then you pull the trigger and it pulls off. All right. Now the thing with lubrication, oils and things of that nature, they'll actually evaporate and they can burn off through shooting or whatever. These guns do not run well, in my experience and in my opinion. These guns do not run well dry. They have to be lubed. So I found a lube that is not going to ever dry out, and it works really, really well. Every Taurus semi-auto like this that had trouble running in one of my classes, I put a little teeny bit of this in a couple key locations, and these things run and run and run and run and run. It's called Brownell's Action Lube. I think it's unicorn snot or something like that. You can see that it's really, really thick. You can see where I've been using like a Q-tip or something just to, not the cotton part, I'll break that off, just use the paper stem part or the wood plastic stem part and daub in there. Really thick stuff, but it's slicker than unicorn snot, so it works really, really well. So there's just a couple key places that I put this unicorn snot, and I'll point them out here. For one, you can see right in here, this is where it interfaces with this thing inside the gun. That's what helps the barrel drop down on lock. So I put a little bit of that unicorn snot in there. I put some unicorn snot here on the barrel hood and out there near the muzzle end where it interfaces with the slide. So when the barrel comes back and forth like that, it's riding on a thin sheet of that Gorilla Snot. And then I don't put any on the spring actually. The other place I'll put a little teeny dab, and you don't need much of this Gorilla Snot at all. I'll put a little teeny dab in a couple key spots along there and along there, just the rails there. Then once you put this thing back together, which is really easy to do, you put it on and you push this little thing back in there. You got to make sure the barrel's just right in there though. Okay, so you can see some unicorn snot out here on the muzzle end. You can see where it's riding between the barrel hood and the front and the slide there. And you can see it in these grooves now in the slide. You put some unicorn snot on those areas, it will not burn off. It'll stay put. It won't evaporate like some lubes and oils will. It'll stay where it belongs. It's slicker than you know what. And your gun, your Taurus 24/7 or PT-111 or whatever it is you have, it'll run and run and run and run and run. Anyhow, hope this helps you out. If you got one of these things, I recommend doing it. This is all I recommend using because because I know this works. There may be other stuff out there that works, but I promise you this will work. And have a great